All right. Well, here's the most exciting part for me. I am excited, actually honored, to have in the studio my special guest, Jon Glaser. Thank you for coming in, Jon.
Hey, Tom. It's my pleasure to be here.
Thank you. I appreciate you coming down.
Am I close enough to the microphone?
I think it sounds pretty good. It sounds a little different, though.
Just let me know if I need to get closer, and I'll do what I can.
Okay. Well, you...
Very excited to be here.
Well, thank you for coming here.
Never been on a radio station.
I'm going to put an end to that bit right now.
Well,
Man.
You could have done that for another 70 minutes.
That would have been very challenging for everyone,
Yeah.
including... I wouldn't even have liked that.
No,
I have a question about the song that you were playing right there. That bam, 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 bam.
Yeah.
What is that?
that's a song that is my one of my theme musics. That's the instrumental version of it. You can hear the. This is the vocal version of it. Listen to this.
So is that a song someone wrote for you?
Yes, it's a band called the Theme Weavers in San Francisco.
Wow. What was the next line?
Don't settle for good. And there's also an instrumental version which we use as bed music for bumpers, ins and outs, intros, outros. We talk over the bumper music.
I like the phrase top shelf.
I do too. It's one of my favorites.
I like top shelf, and I like can of corn for baseball.
A can of corn in baseball is what now?
As far I'm never 100%. Well, I'm pretty sure a can of corn is. I think it's an easy catch. Can of corn.
Okay.
But I've never been able to figure out the exact derivative, like why that phrase.
Yeah.
If someone knows it, or maybe you have a laptop, maybe we can Google it.
If we can find out.
Google is the new caller.
You know what? I wish Google was the new caller.
What if you got a caller and it was like, "Hi Tom, it's Google."
It's sounding like that kind of 2001
If
voice.
that's how Google talks.
Do you think that's how Google talks? I think Google might be a little more abrasive than that because some of the stuff that you find on Google. Let's see. Can of corn. Can of corn. List of baseball jargon. Here we go.
Hey Tom, it's Google.
That's much closer to what I imagine Google sounding like. Let's see what can of corn is. An easily caught fly ball.
Mm-hmm.
You know of what you speak. Supposedly comes from a general store clerk reaching up and dropping a can from a high shelf.
So sort of like just gently tugging it from the top shelf, and it drops into his hands. Can of corn. Just like catching a can of corn.
It's frequently used by Chicago White Sox broadcaster Ken the Hawk Harrelson.
Kenny Hawk Harrelson.
It's also a phrase used in an expression of mild excitement, general agreement, or indication from one person to another that completion of said task is in order.
I want to tell a real quick story about my 9th grade baseball coach.
All right.
Don Shanta.
Okay.
Of all the
one name, Don Shanta?
No, his first name is Mr. Shanta. His first name was Don.
Okay.
Don Shanta. I would say of all the coaches I've had throughout my life, I'm going to call him the best coach.
All right.
Freshman year baseball. And he, a lot of kids would say, for fly balls, I got it. That's sort of the norm. First thing he said was, you don't say that. You don't say, I got it. You go, mine.
Mine.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know.
Let's say there's a fly ball between the left fielder and the center fielder, and they're both converging on it.
Yeah.
Now, what is easier to say?
Oh, yeah.
I got it.
I hear you.
Or mine.
One syllable.
Mine. Mine. That's what he said. Just yell it over and over again instead of I got it. I feel like I'm too popping on the mic. Or is that just my headphones?
It might be the headphones might be running a little hot.
I got it. You say you're left field, I'm center field. There's a fly ball between us. You be I got it, and I'll be mine.
Okay. I got
Mine.
You're right. You get it. And what about you still might... What if I was actually closer to it and you had no play on it, but you just were the
that
louder
would be obnoxious,
kid?
Yeah.
Just the louder kid.
That was Google as a child.
Yeah. Yeah. Running from...
Hey, I said I got it.
Yeah. Running from...
Coach is like, Google. I'm about to swear.
Okay.
Another thing that Mr. Shanta did, if you're in the batting cage taking batting practice, you got a good crack on one, he'd be just sort of arms folded, watching. And his big thing, and this is one of my favorite things of all time, was one's luck, two is skill.
Fair enough.
Yep.
That makes sense.
It's like, yeah, you hit a good one. Do it again.
Yeah.
2 in a row means you know what you're doing.
Yes, exactly. It's that kind of...
I loved that.
Because like when these guys come off the golf course and they're like, I heard a story. I don't know what golfer it was, where they're like going to the
Sergio Garcia.
Was that it?
No, I don't know.
I have no idea. And they're like, oh, that's there. I totally choked. And then this guy's like, you're not good enough to choke. like the guy just is like this pro horribly offended by the idea. It's like, it's all pretty much random for you.
A pro said that to an amateur?
Yeah, he said, you're not good enough to choke.
I know who that was.
Who was that?
Google.
It was Google?
You're not good enough to choke.
That
God,
is
Google.
Google is obnoxious.
A good golfer.
I don't like Google
really good.
On the links. See Google out there. Now you, Jon Glaser, everybody who knows comedy knows the name Jon Glaser. It's a top shelf. You want to talk about top shelf? This is top shelf. Right now. This guy is top shelf. The credits they would be... A lot of people know you from Late Night. You did 1,000 characters on Late Night.
Mm-hmm. Did a lot.
They know your voice from... you've done cartoon work. They've known you. People have heard you on Aqua Teen Hunger Force.
You were looking at me like I couldn't tell if you were about to name it or were you looking for me to name it?
I know Aqua Teen Hunger Force. You did a show called Stroker and Hoop.
Mm-hmm.
You were a voice on that.
Mm-hmm.
What other animated...
Stroker.
You were Stroker.
It was a cop buddy cartoon. The other voice was Speed Levitch. You ever see that documentary, The Cruise?
Yeah, the guy who gives the tours in New York.
Sort of has a crazy voice.
That was him.
Now, were you in the booth with Speed Levitch, or were you nice guy?
Sometimes we'd do it together, and then sometimes they would record it separately. Yeah, very nice guy. Very entertaining to hang out with.
But all of this stuff now, all of this stuff was these were just appetizers, entrees, setting the table for the main course that is about to be dropped on America on Thursday.
Yeah.
On Adult Swim, which is the part of the Cartoon Network's line of...
They're changing they're calling it In Your Face Night.
Thursday's In Your Face Night.
Thursday's In Your Face.
There is a show now. What time on Thursday?
10:30.
10:30. So you watched your 30 Rock. Everybody got that out of the system. They watched but now they're locked in. 10:30 on Thursdays.
You get your fill of your Tina Fey. You get your fill of your Jack McBrayer. Your Tracy Morgans.
Then you get a half hour of cool down. You go eat your snacks. You do whatever you have to do. You run a load of laundry, and then you go up 10:30. There's a new show called Delocated.
Yeah.
Which I've seen a bunch of the episodes, and it is masterful. It is the greatest. Wow. The greatest.
Wow.
I'm not kidding.
Thank you very much. It's very nice of you to say so.
Now, if you had to tell people what Delocated was, like what's the one-liner on Delocated?
I guess it would have to be it's a live-action show, first of all, which is, I think, Adult Swim's first full live-action show. They have Tim and Eric, but those, they still have lots of green screen and graphic stuff, and they did do a couple, I think, green screen shows, but this one is the first full live-action show that they're trying.
Yeah.
And I guess the description of it is a family in the witness protection program accepts the offer to do a reality show about their lives, to see what life is like for a family in the witness protection program, except they are going to be moved from the small anonymous town the government has placed them in and moved to New York City. The premise being we're going to give them the excitement back in their lives. They're going to be in New York in a sweet loft.
Yeah.
But they have to wear ski masks, not like those 3-hole, 2 eyes and a mouth holes.
Yeah.
While they're on camera, which is at all times, and they have their voices permanently, surgically altered to that kind of weird, garbly voice you hear on the news. That kind of very low, garbled, really awesome sounding voice. But that's the conceit is that they've had this surgery so that people, when they hear them on the street, they're hearing that voice live.
Yeah, yeah.
To go that one extra step to keep their identities anonymous. So that's the main setup. It's a husband and a wife and their 12-year-old son.
Yes, and they're running.
They're on the run from the Russian mob, supposedly. I guess in theory, every time I think about the show, it's like, well, I guess they really wouldn't know who it is, but I guess they just don't care. They want to kill him because it could be anybody. So, but yeah, they're on the run from the Russian mob is constantly trying to kill them. Eugene Merman plays, who I'm sure a lot of people know, he's a comedian, plays the member of the Russian family that's trying to kill me, and he's also an aspiring stand-up comedian.
Yeah,
does a lot of jokes of just his right now. The way we're doing it, he just does just awful jokes about vodka. Really terrible, but highly enjoyable.
It is so good. Delocated, and it is Thursday at 10:30 on Adult Swim for everybody who has cable. It's on the Cartoon Network.
Part of the Cartoon Network. It was very, very good time.
Yeah. Now you have one season in the can now on this. And how many episodes make up that first season? 7
total. We did the pilot and then 6 episodes after that. Once we got picked up and waiting to hear about a second season, I'm sure they want to wait till see how it does. And so yeah, I'm very excited about it. It was a very, very enjoyable experience. I'm not going to say great and stuff like that, but
I'll say great.
Yeah.
I'll say it. It is great. It is so.
It turned out very good, and I'm very proud of it. And whatever happens, happens.
You did your best on this thing. This thing is going to kill everybody when they see it.
It's got a lot of good hits so far.
Yeah.
Uh-oh, here's Google.
Oh, Google's back.
I see some clips. They're pretty good. Not bad. Still figuring stuff out.
You're still figuring out the characters and whatnot.
You're figuring it out a little bit.
Now you
TV shows, they usually take a few seasons to come into their own to kind of get a comfort zone.
To get the voice down. Yeah. Now
took me a while to get my voice down.
I think you might want to keep trying, Google.
What? Didn't like, by the way. I don't appreciate you tarnishing the image of the Sully with what you did before this.
Oh, okay. I apologize, Google.
Not okay.
Not okay.
In Google's book.
Okay. In Google's, yeah. Does Google?
I can't wait until tomorrow morning when people are like, did you hear Glaser's interview? It was 10 minutes of Glaser, and then they just did an hour of he pretended he was Google.
Yeah. He was just talking about Google. I don't know.
He pretended to be. He gave Google a voice, and it was not fun to listen to, and it went on for an hour.
What is the show? I don't know. They only talked about Google. Apparently, there's a show. I don't know much about it.
The good thing is that, Adult Swim will get word of probably this interview, and they'll listen to it, and they'll be like, oh, let's do a show about Google.
Yeah. They'll be like, got a good news, bad news thing, John. We're not doing Delocated. We're pulling Delocated bore it hits the air. One day before.
Before it even hits the air.
Exactly. We're erasing it. It will never exist. But we want you to start tomorrow morning on this show where you are Google. It's going to be sponsored by Google. A lot of good Silicon Valley money coming through here. Just put this Google costume on.
Next week on Google.
Yeah. Hey, it's Google. Like, what happened to the guy with the ski mask? Now this the character of the guy with the ski mask, that actually started. You had been doing that as a stand-up kind of. No, I mean, the stand-up is a very catch-all phrase for that, like a performance thing at places like Invite Them Up and whatnot.
Yeah, I did it. I actually did it even before I lived in New York, and when I was first doing the character, it had more of a joke attached to it, which was that it was an impressionist in the witness protection program, and just as dumb as you can imagine. He all of his impressions just sounded like that voice. And he was a really hacky, terrible stand-up, and he would do bad jokes. I can't even remember some of them, but just a lot of just Homer Simpson terrible impressions, and they all sounded terrible, or they all sounded like this. And he was very proud of his work.
Yeah.
And, but I always really liked. So I ended up doing that around town a little bit, and I did it on Conan. I did the impressionist character, and I just always liked that character and wanted to do something with it, not with the joke attached to it. Just more of a general character of the guy in the mask and the voice, and thought of the show several years back and had pitched it, and thankfully Adult Swim came around as a thing, as a place where you could do cool shows, and they were definitely into it. I don't want to say definitely, but they were into it.
Yeah.
And here we are, right across the Hudson, doing a radio interview about it.
Yeah, it's very exciting. This must be very exciting for you.
It is actually. I didn't mean that in a.
No. Well, just for you, it's like, this is the pinnacle. Finally, I got to take the PATH train.
No, it's great.
Well, it's because the funny thing is with the character, the obvious thing is that people have seen you in a variety of places, but now it's like one of the funniest conceits about it, and it never stops being funny, is just the fact that the mask never comes off and the voice never changes.
Comes off. Yeah,
and it just keeps getting funnier. Like you think, because like when you see it, you're like, okay, I get the instant hook here. I get it, but then you just don't realize that it's just like this is just the top layer, and the fact that this hook is unwavering, and it just keeps getting like the fact that this guy's actually you're going to follow him living his life now, and the ski mask is just who he is, and that voice is who he is.
Yeah.
It's just it's the joke that keeps on giving, where it just does not. It just gets better as with each episode, because it just doesn't stop. You're like,
I love it. Like, to me, it was never, obviously the scripts can't all be like ski mask and voice jokes to me, but it was never an issue to me that it's just, this is how he looks and this is how he talks. And you just accept it as a person, and that's his face.
Yeah.
And that's his voice.
But every once in a while it just hits you all of a sudden. You're like you're watching an episode, you're like, okay, I'm following the story here. It's his son's bar mitzvah and everything's going on. And then all of a sudden you just catch yourself. You're like, oh, my God, it's still just a guy in a ski mask is having this argument with his voice modulated. And it's like, it is hilarious. I cannot recommend it enough.
Thank you.
And, Adult Swim is also the perfect place for it, too, where it's just like you can do your thing without it being kind of qualified or kind of compromised in any way. This is
definitely. I'm sorry, I was distracted by a text. My dad is listening. He just texted me, I want to talk to you on the radio.
Well, this is exciting.
So maybe that'll happen a little bit.
Yeah, we can take calls. Get your dad on the phone.
But yeah, Adult Swim is easily the best place for this show to exist. No question about it.
Yeah.
It was a completely satisfying, creatively satisfying experience. It was very enjoyable, and the shows were pretty much how I and the people involved wanted to make them. It was great. Can't say enough.
Yeah.
Really.
I just have to say, this is, you're listening to WFMU East Orange, WXHD Mount Hope, worldwide on the World Wide Web at WFMU.org. This is the best show on WFMU, and we are joined in studio by Jon Glaser, who is the creator and star of a new show called Delocated, which starts on the Cartoon Network's Adult Swim block this Thursday at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And so everybody should check that out.
You also got me in the studio.
That's right. And we have Google on hand also, who will maybe be
hey, folks,
telling us about...
It's me, Google.
So, Google, can you...
Hold on, let me take a bite of my sandwich real quick.
Like,
Oh,
I don't like that. That
God.
that is not pleasant.
Oh, yeah.
You might you might want.
I was pretty good.
Yeah, you might want to Google eating etiquette, something along those lines. Google. The show is filmed in New York.
Yes.
Like a lot of exterior stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's in parks and on the
Yeah,
street.
it was not done. It was all locations, not done in a studio.
Mm-hmm. Now there's a guy with a ski mask, and just like in the park acting. And sometimes there's a guy in a ski mask and a child in a ski mask and a woman in a ski mask acting. And what was that like? I mean, just the actual day in, day out reality of like, we're in the middle of the city, just on location, and I'm not taking this ski mask off.
Well, there was like it wasn't as great in that way that you'd think, because there's so many locations in New York that you're really just not allowed. Like, you can't go to Times Square, and you can't go on. I don't know if you can go on the bridges or near them. There's all these just, I think they call them hot zones.
The guy with a ski mask and a camera going onto a bridge. I mean, that would be...
Well, we did, in the pilot, you'll see if you watch, there is in the opening credits, and I think it's only in the pilot because the credits became much shorter when we edited the shows, but we did get a shot in Times Square, and we sort of just grabbed it, and it was pretty nerve-wracking because I thought for sure as soon as we really like kept the masks on until the very last second, like told Jason Wolner, who shot the pilot, we're like, all right, do not even like bring your camera up till we're ready to go. Okay, are you ready to go? All right, okay, get your camera, sort of keep it down low and get focused, ready, go. Threw the mask on, he like ran around us twice, we got him off and then got out of there. Yeah,
because of all the places, like you get some out-of-town person in Times Square trying to be a hero. It's like, I saw something. If you see it, say it.
Boulevard of Heroes.
Yeah, exactly. Let's get them.
But there was a couple times that it was pretty enjoyable. We, any fairly busy exteriors. We did one scene where it's me on a park bench and we were in Park Slope, and we were right next to a playground. So tons of moms and kids. I mean, not like within 10 feet, but about 100 feet from it, not too far.
Yeah.
And it's me on a park bench throwing a fit, like it was just screaming at this like a fit actor, mom and kid, yelling at the top of my lungs at them because he spills a milkshake on my pants, and I'm just like throwing a fit and just physically just angry and like jumping over this brick fence and running into the woods near the park, and it was pretty great. That was pretty great. And another one was a scene where we're in the park, also in Prospect Park, and this is even more where Eugene had a fake rifle, and we had a police officer there to oversee everything. But still, it's like there's a guy in a ski mask in a crowd, and Eugene's running, pretending to have shot me, and then running through the woods. And I'm pretty sure in the final cut, the take we used, and we only had a few takes, but you see him running away from camera with his rifle, kind of talking back to camera, and then in the background, who he's running towards, there's a woman with a stroller. It's a Prospect Park, and it was just, those moments were not as many as you'd think, but when they happened, they were pretty hilarious. Because
it's also not like when people in the city are accustomed to seeing like a movie.
Only in New York.
Yeah. It is.
Google, we get it.
When you see like the 8 trailers lined up, it's like, oh, hey, they're shooting a movie here, and then you start to see the lighting rigs and all the stuff. People are accustomed to that as being like, all right, they can, anything they see, they understand. Oh, that's part of the movie. But this is one guy with a camera and maybe a small crew. Yeah,
we had a very, relatively speaking, there were not a lot of trucks.
Yeah,
at some point it was obvious. It was 2 cameras, so there was at least another guy.
Yeah.
And it was a much bigger crew than I thought it was going to be. Still small.
Yeah.
But there were definitely moments where if you weren't paying attention, it would be a little startling.
Yeah, you might see the guy in the ski mask first, rather than the guy with the clipboard.
Right. And the headset.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty. Yeah.
Well, again, it's called Delocated. We have Jon Glaser in the studio. It starts Thursday at 10:30 on Adult Swim. We have lines lit up. People who have questions for you.
Wow.
Are you ready to take some questions?
I'm ready.
Oh, Google.
I would like. Yeah. All I ask is that there's one question for Google.
Okay.
So let's do it.
I just checked my my instant message here on the computer, and a message from Jason Walliner saying,
Wow.
"This is true." Saying during your story, he actually saying, "This is true." And what does he think? You're making stories up? Like, this is true.
True story.
True story. We shot that thing in Times Square.
Yep, we did that.
We grabbed the thing real quick. This is true. This is not. I know this story sounds fantastical, but this one is true. Come on, Jason. Seriously. You expect more of Jason Walliner than that. WFMU, you're on the air.
Hi, this is Tim from Richland, Washington.
Tim, how are
Hello.
you tonight?
I'm doing great.
How you doing, Tim?
I'm doing great, Google. I've been a fan of John's since. No, I didn't realize he worked on TV Funhouse, but and that was pretty great. But when
That was a good show.
Yeah.
Got the turtle and the dogs, right?
Yeah, the dogs.
Puppets.
Yeah, Muffins and the cats and the turtle.
Puppets, not
Oh, yeah,
muffins.
puppets.
Muffins, yeah. Yeah, generally.
Muffins.
I mean, there are puppets and Muppets. I don't know where muffins. That's
I
kind
thought maybe one of the dogs was named Muffins, is what Google was saying, because Google sometimes, pulls up wrong information.
Oh!
that was a little.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Here we go. All right. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry about Google, by the way.
Please.
What a jerk.
Yeah,
like it.
what a jerk, yeah. But where I actually got to know you as Jon Glaser was in Stroker and Hoop, and it's really cool to see you with your own Adult Swim show, because you've kind of been around Adult Swim a lot. You've been a voice on a ton of Adult Swim shows, and actually I have a two-part Adult Swim related question. I noticed that you had worked on Super Jail, which was a show that I really, really enjoyed last year from Adult Swim. And I was just wondering what your role on that was. And then when I'm really stoked for Delocated, I saw the pilot when they premiered it during the April Fool's stunt last year, and I've been waiting for it since then. And I noticed that PFFR of Wonder Chosen and Xavier Renegade Angel are part of your show, and I just wondered what their role in it was.
Well, the first part about Super Jail is
First of these 9 parts. He's gonna. Okay, this is the first part of the 9 questions you asked. Here it comes. So get ready. We might go over a little bit into the next show by the time all your questions are answered, but John will start now.
I just got hooked up with those guys on Super Jail because I know Christy Caracas, who did the show with some other guys, but I know Christy, who is the guitar player in this band called Cheeseburger. If you don't know them, I highly recommend you check them out. They're amazing. They're awesome. But Super Jail, I had seen the pilot, and I thought it was really incredible, and I was just effusive to Nick Weidenfeld, who's the Adult Swim development guy, how much I loved it, and they just had me work on a couple episodes with those guys. So it was really peripheral, sort of helping them with a couple scripts. But they had already storyboarded everything, and my role was just to sort of help them write it. But I always felt like I didn't do much. But that was my involvement. I was very happy to get to work on that show. And then I guess the second part was just what is PFFR's role in the show?
Yeah.
I just know John and Vernon. John Lee and Vernon Chapman are 2 of the 4 people who make up PFFR, and Allison Levy I also know, and they started a production company. So when I was interviewing production companies for my show, their name came up, and that was it. I just decided there's no way I'm going to hire anyone else because those guys are incredible, and that's how they became involved with the show. And I'll just tell everybody else to watch their show Xavier, which I think is on the same night.
Yeah, they're premiering it. You're going to be part of their experimental thing of premiering stuff on weekdays, because they found out that
In Your Face Thursday.
Yeah. Yes.
Xavier's a really pretty unbelievably great show.
Yeah.
Now, where you know a lot about Adult Swim, young man. You seem to be quite the student.
Oh yeah, I mean that's pretty much there's some people who like a couple of Adult Swim shows, but I pretty much just like the channel in general, and just the way it supports creative people and allows shows like Xavier and Super Jail and Delocated to actually get made.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
Fired up about Delocated?
Oh.
You can tell everybody at school?
I'm out of school. Graduated.
Tell everybody in your church group.
Yes.
Tell them at the synagogue.
Yes. I'll tell them to pray for you, John.
Appreciate that. This is Google, by the way, not John.
Thanks for calling.
Thanks a lot.
Jason Wallner's continuing this for some reason. He's saying, yes, we did that. He wasn't lying.
Yeah, no, it's true. I want to try to think of a Jason Wallner story that's not true, and I'll tell it, and we'll see if he catches it.
Yeah,
we can keep going in the meantime.
Yes. Jason Wallner, by the way, this guy's as talented as can be.
This kid's going places.
This young man. I went to the Comic-Con on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like you go into the thing, and it's like I went to the one in San Diego, and it's like wall to wall people. But the one in New York now is like the misshapen comic book fans now, but they're wearing their winter coats, so it just makes them even whiter somehow and more misshapen.
Oh.
Look, I can say this.
Oh.
I was there. You weren't there. I saw this. And I'm going, it's like salmon going up the stream. It's like you're jammed in. And I'm pushing along the thing just to get through it. And for about 20 seconds, I realize pushing next to me, trying to get through, is Jason Wallner's younger brother, the H-Man. He's my protege on this show. I don't know if you know. He's in training. He's going to take my place at some point, the H-Man. He's and it was him right next to me. Of all the
Why do you guys call him the H-Man?
It has to do with his first name. He's a little
Henry?
mysterious. He keeps it a little mysterious.
Henry?
I don't know.
Harry?
I don't know. I wish
Hal?
I knew. Hal? I think it might be Hank. I'm not sure. Is there a caller on the line? FMU.
Yeah.
Hi. How are you?
I'm doing really well, Tom. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing okay. You're on the air. What's your name?
Dan.
Dan, where are you calling from?
Ottawa.
Ottawa.
Man, what happened to the Senators, huh?
I don't know.
Probably don't want to talk about it.
I don't know.
He doesn't know.
All right.
This is not a very athletic listenership in a lot of ways. Guys like
Fair
this.
enough.
So, do you get the Adult Swim up in Ottawa?
No, we get a lot of the shows, but a lot later.
Okay.
And you can't through the site; it's geo-blocked and stuff.
Wow.
Got to drive across the border, get a hotel room. Sounds like every Thursday night you're gonna have to drive across.
When you say you get them later, do you mean later at night or later in the year?
Much later in the year, usually.
I see.
Well, 2011, they'll get Delocated.
Maybe I can steal some Wi-Fi from.
That's weird.
Ogdensburg.
Maybe you can what?
Steal some Wi-Fi from Ogdensburg and go to the site or something.
Good to see you. Nice and lively for tonight's call, huh? Sorry, did we wake you or something for this? Come on, wake up.
Okay.
What's your question?
It's for both of you guys.
Oh.
If you guys have different answers, you can answer at different times. If you were Dracula,
I would say, no, I'm not even gonna do. This is not. I'm not gonna. This is not inside the actor's studio. Yeah, thank you, Mike. Well, thank you for putting him through. Also, you tell him that, but yet you put him through. So you like? So you would?
I'm gonna answer his question. If I was Dracula, I'd bite so many necks.
You're lucky that Google was funny there for a second, Mike. I was just about to call you on the carpet.
People be wearing scarves 365 days a year if it was hot out.
If Google was Dracula.
That's an episode of the Google show.
That would be a pretty good, like a dream sequence.
That would be if Google was Dracula.
I think this Google show sounds actually.
I want to create a search engine called Dracula.
Just Dracula, like.
Man, I wanted to. Oh man, what does can of corn stand for? Will you Dracula that?
Can we try? Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And then it's just stupid where it's got a voice.
Or it just goes. Bleh.
Can of corn.
It's just like when you hit.
In the olden days.
You hit return, it just goes. Bleh. It's just at the point. It's like I'm kind of getting sick of this. Like, you know what I don't like about Dracula? Like, here are the pros with Dracula.
Bleh.
It's very fast, and usually it finds the right
fastest
answer.
search engine. It's really
most accurate.
Yeah.
Cons. Bleh. The fact that it goes bleh every time. I cannot.
It's definitely not a con for me. I have to say. That's my favorite part.
6 months in, though, and you're working on it, and it's just like, bleh.
Okay.
FMU, you are on the air.
Yes, hello. I'm a little confused. Where is it that everyone goes swimming as adults?
What? What are you doing to me, Mike? What? You're working with what you get? Tell them no. He was on. Oh, great. Mike, you're on probation. I'm officially putting you on probation right now. And I'm so serious. If anybody, I'm saying like at this point, anybody wants to screen calls, anybody, I'm game.
Blood.
201-209-9368. That's the number if you want to get through. And if you have a question for Jon Glaser, he's in studio. He is the creator and star of Delocated, which is a series that begins on Adult Swim on the Cartoon Network this Thursday at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and it is so good. And you know what's also good is the cast on the show is good. Like Kevin Dorff is so funny on it.
Yeah, Kevin Dorff plays the. Wait, this is my phone. I want this to be my dad going. Well, how can I? Nope. Aha. No, I got a text from James McNew. It just says bleh. Oh man. All right, let me give. I could go on another tangent about bleh. Kevin Dorff plays the federal agent. It's going to be my new favorite thing for a long time.
Right now. Somebody's working on that right now. Like, this idea is going to get stolen.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, tomorrow. Dracula.
As long as, look, you know what? As long as it exists, I'll be happy.
Yeah.
Bleh.
As long as it says bleh.
Yeah, when you click.
Yeah.
It'll be like the commercial that commercial for the new BlackBerry Touch where the guy's like, wait a minute, did that screen just click?
Yeah.
Same thing where it's like, wait a minute, did that just say bleh when I hit enter?
That's it. As long as 18 months from now somebody's like, Kanye West tickets, like, click bleh.
I do want. This reminds me of an anecdote, and Jason Woolner can back this up with a text that says true story. That one of the things I think I had pitched this. I would always do this dumb character at Human. I wrote on Human Giant for a couple. I think the whole time they had their show, and I would always do this really stupid character just in the room named Jim, who was this just terrible writer, and I was always pitching bad ideas. And one of the ideas that this guy kept pitching was a character called Jewish Ghost as a character, and the whole thing with Jewish Ghost was that he'd go oi, much in the same vein of bleh. So it just became this running dumb bit of Jewish Ghost, and that made it into Delocated. We of course never did it on Human Giant, which we never should have.
Yeah.
But there's a very I won't say when. You'll have to listen for it. There is a Jewish Ghost reference in Delocated. I'll tell you, it's in the third week.
Okay.
Keep an ear out for the Jewish Ghost appearance.
Now you've got me even more intrigued.
Yeah. But anyway, I'll get back to Kevin Dorff.
Okay.
Yeah, it is a great cast. We really lucked out.
Yeah.
Kevin Dorff plays the federal agent that's assigned to protect the family, and he's somebody that I've known for years. We worked together in Chicago at Second City, and he's really one of the best improvisers, actors I know. Truly incredibly funny guy.
Yeah.
Nadia Dejani plays my wife, soon-to-be ex-wife, as you'll see, and she's great. She's just another actress, New York actress that I know, friend of a friend, and she's excellent. Jacob Kogan plays the son, and he is a kid that we got through the guy when we were casting and thinking of kids. John and Vernon from Wonder, they did the show Wonder Shows, and they had of course worked with tons of kids, and they found him, and he's amazing. He's just like, it's like having another adult on set.
That kid, when your son, when the bar mitzvah episode, which when he's going through certain things on it is like a tour de force of child acting where he's actually really acting, and it's not just like a kid being hammy. Like he's a
really
great
good
actor.
He's a super smart kid.
Yeah.
He's got just he's this. It was just like it's just great. It's just it's rare. He's just a really smart kid.
Mm-hmm.
And his parents are super cool. They were probably hardly even on set. They were like, oh yeah, he takes the subway himself. He'll just be there.
Yeah.
And they were just the coolest. And he really was really good. And he's just a great improviser. He's funny.
Yeah.
So it was great.
And people who need
he plays Spock as a kid in the new Star Trek movie.
Really?
I'm going to plug him.
Wow. So the new Star Trek. So this is like pay it forward. You're plugging. You're here. I'm plugging. Delocated this Thursday.
Pay it into space. Pay it to the future.
Hey, it is the future. So the producers of the new Star Trek movie can just go like, hey, we got some good word of mouth last night on WFMU
from Google.
So some dude was doing Google on there, and now we got to.
Dracula gave it 2 bloods.
Yeah. Dracula. Would it just be Dracula.com or like Dracula search.com? Like what?
Drac search.
Drac search is exactly what it would be. Drac. Ask Drac.
This is just what you'd hear. When someone does it, you're gonna hear the keyboard.
Yeah.
Blah.
Yeah, you'll be in a library. You'll just hear it. Bleh. Bleh. All the lines are lit up with people with questions for Jon Glaser. But yeah, the cast is really great on it, and Kevin Dorff. It's great to see. It's great to see you on television with this. It's also great to see Kevin Dorff, who I've always been.
Dorff is really to me one of the funniest people I know ever. He's so good. He's so funny. He's just like this really exceptionally subtle performer.
Yeah.
I can't say enough good things about him as a funny actor, but also he's a great actor. But he's one of my all-time favorites.
Yeah, it plays to what he does best.
Also, we got this guy David Beach. We got to play the executive. He's really great. Zoe Lister-Jones, who comes in later as a girlfriend character. She's a New York actress, and she's really funny and really good. Yeah, we got a lot of good people.
And then there's an exciting cameo, a celebrity cameo in the pilot that people can look forward to.
I guess I don't want to give anything away.
No. People can tune.
Yeah, just watch the pilot. There's a really good.
Just tune in.
Yep.
You'll be very excited.
Yep.
It's very fun. You're better off not knowing.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
WFMU, you're on the air. FMU, you're on the air.
Hello, Tom.
Hey, who's this?
This is Eric out of Providence, Rhode Island.
Right.
America's angriest city. How are you?
Very good. I just moved there, so I haven't really seen all the angry people yet. So I just want to say, Mr. Glaser, I'm a big fan. I believe it was you a couple of years ago at the Delocated Marathon who gave a one-man show as Lady Sovereign.
As Jim Leland.
Tiger's manager, Jim Leland, and Gary Sheffield, which was one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my entire life.
Thank you very much. That was highly enjoyable to do.
It was highly enjoyable to watch. I had a question. I'm not sure if maybe Tom or John would know, but is John going to be on the Mike show later?
No, he's not. There's a Mike out there does his own sub show off of this show, and I will not allow you to be a guest on his show is like a dirty version of this show where the topics, like he did a topic last week about like fun packs, like these like things where you buy like adult magazines, like but they're shrink wrapped. Is that what it is, Mike?
Fun packs.
Hey, Mike.
Hold on. Let me check.
Yeah.
Blow. Oh yeah, there we go. Shrink wrapped fun packs.
Well, I'm not even going to engage, Mike. I appreciate that's a generous question. I wonder how you got through. So I can only wonder how you got through to ask that question about Mike, the Mike show. Do you have anything else, young man?
Well, I'm not sure if Mr. Glaser is a big baseball fan. If he had any couple 2 cents on the whole Aroyd thing going around in the papers.
Aroyd.
New York residents.
Nice. It's pretty. I mean, yeah. I think it's pretty severely disappointing. I've never been a fan of that guy. Ever. I think I wish he'd be kicked out of baseball. Quite honestly. Why not? He did steroids and he admitted it.
Throw him out.
Throw him out of baseball. Throw him out of baseball. Get rid of. If he sets any records, they should never count. That's my 2 cents.
You okay with that?
I am completely satisfied. Thank you very much.
Great, thanks.
Thank you I'm glad you saw the Jim Leland. That was me wearing a Jim, just so people know, it was me wearing a 2-dimensional cardboard cutout mask of Jim Leland that I got from the Detroit Free Press online.
Yeah.
And then I also, at Halloween a couple years ago, they were passing out Lady Sovereign masks, also 2-dimensional, just with the eyes cut out. I guess she had an album come out. So I just grabbed one, and I would always, this is another human giant in the, hanging out bit where I would just show up and put that mask on and pretend to be Jim Leland and talking this really just terrible, like, hey guys, it's Jimmy Leland calling you. Just pitching ideas as Jim Leland and then pitching ideas as Lady Sovereign, and then it would always be this. The joke was, and I would always do this with Tom Giannis, who was the executive producer at Human Giant. Sure. And I know him. We go way back from Second City, and another big baseball fan. And I would always call Tom just at night when I'd be walking my dog and just, hey, Tommy, it's Jim Leland's walking the dog and just thinking about today's meeting and talking about whatever. And I wanted to do it was a one-man show called According to Jim. But it was Jim Leland. It was as dumb as it sounded, but it was very enjoyable. And Matt Walsh, I think, put a Gary Sheffield mask on. So it was Jim Leland and Gary Sheffield.
Wow. Well, I think we have a call here. FMU, you're on the air.
Is that me?
What's that?
Is that me?
Yes, that's you. You're on.
Hi. This is Jeff from Brooklyn.
Jeff from Brooklyn. How are you?
Good. How are you doing, Tom? Big fan of the show.
Oh, thank you. You're
first-time caller, actually, so I'm kind of nervous.
Oh, wait. Oh, that's you. Okay, I thought you were asking me. I'm so sorry, Jeff.
No. I was saying that I'm a big fan of the show.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Are you excited about Delocated?
Yes, I actually am. I've only seen the pilot, but it looks ridiculous and really, really hilarious.
Thanks.
I'm also a huge fan of Jon Glaser's stuff on Human Giant and the stuff that he did with John Benjamin.
Yeah.
I was actually
the Benj.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yes.
Amazing. I actually had a question for Jon Glaser.
Yeah.
Do you think you'll be going on tour anytime soon?
No plans to. I don't do a lot of touring stuff. I don't do, stand-up tours or anything like that. But I don't know. I think it depends on how the show does. I would kind of like to, actually. I always wanted to do a live witness protection program, kind of variety show hosted by me as the character. And if there's any way to swing something, I would definitely do it. There was a big show in town for part of the Comic-Con in New York, and Adult Swim did a show, and I hosted it as my character. And Cheeseburger played, and Andrew W.K., and I sang a bunch of songs with Cheeseburger as my character, and it was really just obnoxiously, aggressively stupid, just with the different ski masks and the voice, and it was so fun. So I don't know if there's any way to do something. I guess we'll see how the show does, but yeah, hopefully yes, but no real plans right now.
The kings
awesome.
The kings of witness witness protection.
That's pretty funny.
Just you and like 3 other guys.
That's
with
ridiculous.
Ski masks.
Yeah, that was always the idea, was getting a handful of performers that would be wearing ski masks. Like I did something when I wrote the pilot, I made the pilot script. I made a demo that I turned in with the script because I knew that it needed to. The idea you really need to hear and see the character to really get it. And so I made a very short demo just that I made on my own. And part of the demo was that John befriends a band in the Witness Protection Program that used to be this big, pretty well-known indie rock band. And now they go by the name Bo Ra Flango. And it was just, I met up with those guys at their practice space, and they put on ski masks, and it was so fun. And I sang a song with those guys, in case you couldn't figure it out, it's Yola Tango. And they do these shows these Hanukkah shows every year, and I did a song with them one year as the character. It was really fun. So, if it works out where a bunch of people are available to do either a small tour or something, that would be pretty great.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah, that would be really, really awesome.
Would you go? Would you go?
Absolutely. I also got to see Yola Tango not too long ago in Montclair, and they were great. And I was able to. This was really weird. I was able to take a picture with Ira and Georgia from Yellow Tango. So I was really stoked about that.
That's awesome.
They're the coolest.
Where's that picture right now? On your fridge? Screensaver?
No, it's
Hold on
actually,
1 second.
Don't worry, we got it.
Sorry, man. I have my no swearing sign right here, and I still.
I got it, though. I
Look,
got
I
it.
was in.
I got it. You know,
God,
you're in the.
So glad you got that.
You're in the. I'm putting you next on the
man,
the thing
you
with-
moved too, man.
Yeah.
You flew to that button. Wow.
Oh, I'm all business.
I am sorry.
Oh well, you're on. It's you and Paul F. Tompkins now
Wow.
are the
Terrible.
king toilet mouth
Terrible.
of the show.
All right.
FMU, you're on the air.
Hi, Glaze. How you doing?
All right. Here we go.
This is your daddy.
Yeah, I figured as much.
Let's keep it clean. I don't know if this runs in the family.
No swearing, Dad.
No swearing, I promise. I just want to tell you, I'm so damn proud of you.
Oops, is Dam okay?
We'll let Dam go this time.
DAM. And,
Okay.
and I was driving today, and I get a phone call from one of my buddies, and he said, you know, I'm probably not the first phone call, but and I said, what are you talking about? He said, did you read the Detroit News today? I said, no, I get the free press. And there was a great article about John's new show, and he read it to me. He read it to me as I was driving, and I had to pull over because I was crying.
Oh,
I mean,
well, that's fantastic. That's so.
I'm just very, very proud of my kid. He is absolutely one of my all-time favorite characters, and as they say in Yiddish, I haven't stopped spelling from the day he was born.
Bleep that.
And I love you.
You should be proud. Your son, everybody loves your son. He has made everyone laugh so many times.
Well, I want you to know his Buffy, who's 101 years old, cannot wait for this program. I'm going to TiVo it and bring her over. That's my mom. And
Well, that's illegal, actually. I'm sorry. You actually cannot do that. That's a violation of your cable subscription.
If you're showing it to any person over 100 years old, you can.
Okay, you're allowed to do it once.
That's when it becomes legal.
What is the first funny thing that you can remember young Jon Glaser doing?
Well, I mean, he's always been a great sense of humor kind of kid. But we took him to a basketball playoff game. The Pistons, I think it was in the mid-'70s.
I actually know this story, Dad, but I'm going to let you say it because it's great.
In the mid-'70s, and we were playing against Golden State. Rick Barry was playing for Golden State Warriors, and at halftime, they were walking into the tunnel right where we were sitting, and John yells out, "Hey, Rick Barry, aren't you drunk from all those booze?" and I looked at my kid and I said, "Whoa."
After you hang up, I'm going to retell the story the right way, but keep going. You left a lot. You left a lot out. Storytelling, you got to set it up. You left a lot out.
All right. I mean,
I'm giving you a hard time, but it's true.
All right, it was a very funny shtick, and I tell this story all the time, and I'll have to listen when I hang up so I can hear the update, so I can tell it right next time.
Well, one quick thing before we say goodbye, Dad. What is your what happens to the Pistons this year? What's the story?
I don't know. I'll tell you. I mean, I've always been in love with Iverson. I was very tickled to have him join our club.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think it's an economic move that they made to get down below to make some moves for next year. But you never know. I think Dumars is not through with trades, and he may go for a big player and unload maybe a Rashid and go for a run for the playoffs.
Well,
That's my personal feeling.
Do you think before the trading deadline there's a chance he'd make a move?
I kind of have that feeling, yeah. And but for the time being, I mean, the company I'm with, we have a suite, and I absolutely am so tickled to watch Iverson because he's been a favorite of mine since Georgetown.
Yeah.
And the best. What can I tell you? He's my kind of a guy, take it to the hoop kind of guy, and I love his mentality, you know.
It's hard, though.
And by the way, Jon Glaser can hoop like you've never seen.
I have seen.
Have you?
There we go.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, he's a great
now
kid.
You're talking.
He could have gone any way in his career. He could have decided to go pro or enter the world of comedy.
Well, I just want you to know that you don't have to be a great athlete to have athlete's foot. That's always been my motto. And
I'm going to tell when my dad hangs up, I'm going to tell a joke that he told very similar to that.
All right. Well, thank you.
Glaze, I love you.
Thanks, Dad.
Best of luck. Keep kicking butt and keep taking it strong to the hoop, kid.
Thanks, Dad. The hoop of life.
Thank you for calling.
All right, thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks, Dad. I love you too.
Love you too. Bye.
Bye.
So
all right, let's do a quick. Let's set the record straight here. Rick Barry's story.
That was not the story the way I remembered you telling it.
It's mostly right. I mean, that's the setup. I was proud. I don't know, 5 or 6, whatever. Their Pistons are playing in Cobo. They're playing the Golden State Warriors.
Yeah.
Rick Barry, it should be told, famously shoots free throws underhanded.
Yes.
90% career, right?
Yeah.
Really phenomenal free throw shooter, but he shoots them underhand.
Yeah.
And of course, everywhere he goes, he's booed. Crowds, think it's pretty lame that he shoots underhand. So he's being booed mercilessly by the crowd. And I'd thought of a joke while I was sitting there with my dad, and I had to wait for him to miss. Now, he doesn't miss very often, but finally he missed. And so I thought of the joke. Now, the way I remember it, I'd yelled it right when he missed. Maybe it was when he was going down the tunnel at halftime, but because he was being booed so much and he missed a free throw, I thought of the joke, which was, "Hey, Rick," and I think my dad already told the joke, "Did you miss because you're getting drunk from all the booze?" And all these adults around me are like, "Hey, that's pretty good, kid." Even, Google was there. "Hey, that's pretty good, kid." And I was like, that was weird because I knew Google before he became Google, and he was there.
The giant mainframe taking up an entire section of the arena.
"Hey, it's pretty good, kid."
With the punch card.
I'm Google. You'll remember me someday. So yeah, so all these adults were like, "Hey, it's pretty good, kid." And I was sort of like sheepishly looking around and felt all proud of myself. So that was the Rick Barry story. And then when my dad said you don't have to be an athlete to have athlete's foot, a little cute. It's cutesy. But he did say something that, also dumb but really made me laugh, which was, and for the dumbest reasons, he came to visit me in New York. I have cats. And still, had the same cats at the time. And, there was litter all over the floor in the bathroom, and it's kind of hard to avoid it. And my dad was in the bathroom, sitting down, so his feet are, I guess he didn't have to be sitting up, but his feet are on the ground. And he came back and he's like, "You got to be careful, man. You're going to get a case of cathlete's foot." Which was just the dumbest thing, but it really, really cracked me up. Cathlete's foot.
That is awesome dad humor.
I wish my dad would call.
Really, Google? Who was your dad?
I don't know.
Oh, that's kind of. Well, that just took a turn for the.
I never knew my dad.
Wow. He's not just the two dudes who programmed you?
I don't know.
It might be time for you to Google your past life, your history.
Hold on. Blah.
So even Google uses Drac search.
Look, Google's no dummy. He knows that Drac search is a superior search engine to himself, to itself.
We are joined in the studio. We have Jon Glaser, and he is the you know him from
Drac search is going to be my favorite thing for a long time.
Yeah, until someone does it, and you see like, hey, the internet bust is over. Some dude's rich now.
All right,
$11 billion. Drac search. You know him from Late Night with Conan O'Brien, and you know him from all kinds of different voices and things on Adult Swim. But now he has his own show on Adult Swim, which he is the star of and the creator of. And it's called Delocated, and it's on. It premieres this Thursday at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And man, so much. So you were on Conan for how long? Like 5 years or something?
5 years, almost. I think to the day.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And that was that a good chance for you to figure out your Like what point did you figure out your voice like that in terms of not only writing, for your strengths, but to write for somebody else requires a different skill set sometimes. Some people can't do that. Like, was that where you kind of got control of what you were able to do, or was that like you worked on other shows before that, but they were?
I mean, the thing about that job that was so great, and for me at the time, it was just the ultimate job, is because you could do both write and perform. They hired a lot, not all, but they hired a handful of writer performers, and so yeah, as much as you were writing for Conan, you're also writing for either yourself or other people on the show that would do characters, and so you really got to do everything, or do lay back if you had to or needed to. There's so many good writers there, so it really was just more of a great job that I really wanted for all those reasons.
Yeah, and what's funny is that you a lot of the stuff that people know you for, who've seen you do live stuff, through New York and elsewhere. But some the length of bits is sometimes the key to what makes it funny. Where just things like they do not end when you would think they would end, and they kind of look, they kill me. Some of the funniest things I've ever seen would be like when you and John Benjamin did the meatball thing, where it's a father and a son arguing calling each other meatballs.
Yeah.
And it just but it went on, and it never
long time.
It never ended, and but it just it was that almost like a counter thing to where it's like you are. Like when you're writing for TV, it's like these things you have to get in and out pretty fast.
Look, I don't want to sound like a jerk about this, but we wouldn't do those bits if we knew that people, me laugh you long time. That was our whole mindset was, if we can get the audience me laugh you like king. I just wanted to keep saying me laugh you long time.
I was wondering where that.
No.
I was like.
I interrupted you to do that stupid me laugh you long time. So if you wanted to finish your question, please.
No, that's
go ahead.
okay. No, please. It's just I know sometimes when you work in one thing and brevity is the order of the day, where it's if you write for television, you can't spread out and take 15 minutes to do meatball. But was that almost like a weird
I don't know if it ever lasted 15 minutes, but I'll bet it went 10.
Yeah, it was. There was a point where I saw it a few times, and it would just go. And it would just be at that point where you'd look and other people were just wondering. It just becomes like the dare of when.
Well, I know for me, it's it was never to make people angry or or to make them hate it. I always thought it was hilarious. We always, Benjamin and I always did that stuff because we thought it was funny and we just enjoyed doing it. But I also thought it was funny, and I think there were a lot of people that thought it was funny that it went on that long.
Yeah.
I'm sure there were plenty of people that did not think it was funny in the least that it went on that long. But
it would always loop back around, and you would be it would kind of be it just got funnier now.
Yeah, I think I hope we had a good sense of that. Probably sometimes we didn't.
Yeah, well, I think you had a great sense of it. So, now somebody asked about. Here's a question from somebody from a young man named Martin from Sweden, of all places.
Wow. I know a Martin from Czechoslovakia.
He's saying that
I was hoping it would be, but it's not.
This is a young man
taught
from
me how to
Sweden.
skate.
Now this guy is maybe going to teach you how to look inward with this question. He's saying that basically you a lot of times you keep a low profile. That seems to maybe be the Jon Glaser way. And that now of all things you have a show on TV. It's finally hey, Jon Glaser has a show on television that he is the star of, and you still no one can still see your face. You are wearing a ski mask on it, and you're not even using your real voice on it. You're being run through a processor. He wants to know if that is that just an ironic coincidence, or is that some sort of conscious decision?
I think really. And now this time I'm not doing a bit. I'm being sincere.
Okay.
It's just all about, me laugh you long time. That to me is my ultimate goal for the viewer and the audience. I just go into a thing singing if me laugh you long time. That's all that counts for me. So, yeah, I mean, I'm wearing a mask and there's a voice, but if me laugh you long time, then mission accomplished, so to speak.
Wow.
I feel like I did it again where I just went off in that dumb bit and sort of forgot what the actual question was.
Oh, you answered it.
Okay.
You actually
I hope that answered the question.
We only have like 8 minutes left, so we're going to move through some calls real fast because all the lines are lit up. Everybody's got questions for Jon Glaser.
All right, I'll try to be brief so we can get a bunch in.
FMU, you're on the air.
Hi, is it me?
Yes, it is.
All right, great. Hey, Tom. Hey, John.
Hello.
How are you?
I had a question for John. I'm a big fan, and so I was happy to notice that you are showing up a couple times in recent weeks. Haven't been on there in a long time on Conan.
Yeah, I did a couple bits recently.
And I was wondering, is that something to do with just the show ending, or is there some other reason?
I think it was just coincidence. I don't think it was intentional. There was a couple things that came up, and because I haven't done it in months, and I think it was just random.
All right.
Okay.
But I was certainly glad to do it. I hope so. I hope I get to do something else maybe in that last week. But it was nice to be on towards the end. Yeah.
Do you think you'll ever do anything up in L.A. with them?
If I'm out there, I think it depends on how they do the show. If they're doing comedy, what they're doing, and we'll see.
All right. Cool.
Oh my gosh!
Somebody just did Drac search.
That is
they created.
One more thing.
Insane.
Yeah.
Can't we though prove that we came up with it?
I think this is a tribute.
Okay.
This is.
Well, look, it's on the radio.
Yes.
As if we have to go to court to sue over any Drac search profits, all we do is play a clip from the show.
It's time stamped.
Come on, Drac search.
Who would ever think of Drac search? It's the most impractical thing.
Blah.
Did you have one more question?
I like your blah better than mine. Blah.
I did not have a question. I just wanted to mention, along the lines of those really long bits, the one thing you did with John Benjamin, the Forget-A-Buddies.
Yes.
I love that so much.
Forget-A-Buddies is pretty ridiculous.
It takes so long, and then there's the punchline.
Mm-hmm.
It's just it defies logic that you could hit a punchline after such a delay.
It's pretty obnoxiously long, but I think there's some funny stuff along the way, too, which is
God.
also dumb. But thank you.
That's great. Now, the thing is, these are all transitory things. These things, they're like, you did them. They're like jazz. They're just out in the ether now somewhere. But Delocated, this is committed to film. This is real.
Yeah.
And this is the one. This is the one.
Yeah.
These other things, these were trifles, enjoyable trifles. This is the main course right now.
Yeah.
Delocated.
I love it.
Thursdays at 10:30.
Love your enthusiasm about it.
Thank you. FMU, you're on the air.
Hi, Tom.
Hi, who's this?
This is Swiss Miss in Spokane, Washington.
Wow. How are you doing tonight, Swiss Miss?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing all right.
I just wanted to call in and say that I'm a big fan of John's and will miss you on Conan because I know you're primarily East Coast based. And
yeah.
That's obviously an issue. But also I wanted to know if there would ever be a Slipknots reunion.
I hope so. If there's ever going to be one, I'll be there.
I hope so.
That was like that was a true benchmark of when you guys were the Slipknots on Conan.
Yeah, that was pretty fun.
Throwing out peanuts.
Slipknot is a source of tremendous humor.
What's that?
Slipknot is a source of amazing humor.
The best part was those guys were super nice and super into it because we got to open for them in New Jersey, which I think we showed on Conan.
Yeah,
and it was I was afraid for my life. The roadies were all like, "You're gonna get batteries and coins thrown at you hard."
Oh God!
If you're ever able to watch that clip, you can probably see me ducking as I'm dancing.
And the things are getting.
I didn't get hit. I didn't hear anything whizzing by my ear, but I really was afraid for getting
clonked,
losing an eye or something. But it was really fun and hilarious.
Well, good. I'm glad that they were nice guys. I mean, they had to have a good sense of humor about it if they let you open for them.
Yeah, they were very nice.
Which one's your favorite? 5?
I think 8.
8.
Thank you, all right, guys.
Miss.
Have a good night.
Thanks
Bye.
so much.
FMU, you're on the air.
Hey, Tom. Hey, John. It's Mike in Manhattan. How you doing tonight?
Good. How are you?
Pretty well. I just wanted to let you know, John, that when I go into job interviews, I will often try to mentally and silently become Johnny Ding Dong. It exudes such confidence that I feel like there's no way I can miss.
Just as long as you do the confident Johnny Ding Dong and not the sad one, Johnny Ding Dong, who cries at the Deer Hunter song.
Right.
That's pretty funny. Well, I'm glad. I hope that's helped you get a job.
I'm doing my best. And I had a question for you and Tom. I'll keep it quick though, because I know it's coming to the end. But I just want to know what you guys thought about comedians who have writers.
Like what?
Richard Pryor had writers, and other comedians have writers now. And so, you wrote for Conan. What do you think about stand-up comedians who actually have writers who write jokes for them?
Doesn't bother me at all.
Huh.
It really bothers me. Seriously.
Tom and I are on very different sides of the fence.
Do not bring this up again. I thought I told you never to mention this topic.
We do not see eye to eye.
No, if you're talking about for a television show, the volume of writing that's necessary, I mean, there's no way one human, you couldn't write enough to, one person could not write that. They would lose their mind within 3 days.
Don't get mad at them.
I am getting mad.
Of course.
Thanks, Mike.
Comedian,
Thanks, Mike.
Right.
That's why it was ridiculous when Jay Leno was like, the strike's on. I'm just writing my own jokes. And this guy's doing like a half-hour monologue a night as if he was generating that all himself.
Man.
Yeah. Look, not going to get political.
Yeah.
Talk about that now. But I am going to make a personal appeal right now, in all seriousness. Delocated. This is Jon Glaser was in studio. First of all, thank you so much for coming down. This was a complete thrill to have you come down.
My pleasure.
Even more thrilling is Delocated, which is your series, which starts on Adult Swim this Thursday, 10:30 Eastern Standard Time. And people can get more information on it by, I guess, going over to adultswim.com if they need to see. I'm sure there's clips and whatnot up there. You can get a taste. Of what it is, but I'm telling you,
you can always do a Drac search.
Yes, go to Drac search and you search it, or you can just go right to adultswim.com, or you can go to Drac search and type in Adult Swim. And what if it didn't take you to adultswim.com? It just this weird scenic route, and you finally get to Adult Swim. But it's seriously, this I have been a huge fan of yours for so long, and this is the pinnacle of everything you've ever done, and it's so great, and it's going to go great for you.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate it.
And I think that is this it, Mike? Yes. We're done, right? Wow, how about that? The show went so fast.
Man, oh man.
I want to thank Jon Glaser for coming down again. Once again, Delocated Thursdays at 10:30. We also have I want to thank associate producer Mike for helping out. And coming up next, Evan Funk Davies. He's got 3 hours of the hottest rock you've ever heard planned for you.
Hope this is cool that I'm throwing my garbage away while you're signing off. Making noise.
No, that sounds good. It doesn't. I don't think it's coming through. I don't think. No, it's not coming through.
Oh, cool, good.
So anyway, it's
it's for you to keep talking.
So it's WFMU.
You want me to stop, right? All right, I'll stop.
No, that's another. WFMU East Orange, WXHD Mount Hope, worldwide on the World Wide Web at WFMU.org. And stay tuned for Evan Funk Davies coming up now. Good night.